Okay, good morning, student. So today,
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
today we will electronic development board. Okay. So our topic today is about electronic development board. We will talking. It is the outline for today's material. We will learning about some brand for electronic development board like Arduino and ESP32 or ESP8266. And so this is the electronic development board for IoT development. We can choose many type of electronic development board. We call it electronic development board or controller. So we can choose from this is the popular electronic development board. We call it Arduino, and another brand like ESP8266 and ESP32 is the newest version, the newest version, or the last version from ESP82866. And another type of electronic development board or controller is Raspberry Pi. Raspberry Pi is like a small computer. It's a small PC. Small PC. So if we already talking before, there is some mini computer or mini PC like Intel NUC or NVIDIA Jetson Nano. NVIDIA Jetson Nano is one of the type small computer that we can use for IoT development program. Check. Okay. For our material, for our course, we will learning and practice using Arduino Uno and ESP32 for simulation, for connecting the data, for connecting controller to our cloud system. Sorry. I forget to share screen. Sorry, this is our I'm talking before. So electronic development board, we have many type of EDB like Arduino Uno, ESP32, and Raspberry Pi. We can use one of this EDB depend on our case because this EDB it has the different specification, different price. Raspberry Pi is sophisticated controller or PC. It has many function and has high specification. Because Raspberry Pi is combination between computer and microcontroller. So we can use this type Raspberry Pi for displaying TV, for displaying LCD, for viewing the film, watching the film, and we can also use for Office, Microsoft Office application. But it has the function also for controlling and monitoring for IoT, for IoT development. So, and it has the high price than the another type of this electronic development board. So this is the real condition, is the real plan, real hardware. If we want to make some implementation of IoT, we need sensors and we need a controller. This is the ESP8266, and we use sensors here. This is a DHT11 sensor. This is a sensor for for reading humidity and temperature. So it is low price, it's low price. So we can connect this sensor to our electronic development board using GPIO pin or input pin of our DHT for our ESP, and then this controller, this EDB, electronic development board, will transfer our data to the cloud. The cloud means the server. From sensor, they transfer to cloud, to server. This another case, we use electronic development board that will in with GSM communication, 4G communication here. So it can directly transfer the data to the server, and it is a sensor, one of the type of sensor. Okay, the another case is similar like that, and many examples. For example, this we can make some electronic circuit, electronic control, electronic device. This is a sensor for detection. What to say? The criminals that they want to bring, they want to put your things in your home. You can detect this foreigner, this for using peer sensor. So peer sensor is infrared sensor. Sorry, it's intruder human. We can detect an intruder that come to our home using peer sensor. Peer sensor is infrared sensor to detect a person that in the front of the sensor. They will trigger, they will sending a signal to the microcontroller, and then in microcontroller they will process and communicate to server using any type of communication module like SIM 900. SIM 900 is GSM module. It's a 4G communication using SIM card, and we can also choose another communication technology like Wi-Fi or LoRa or Bluetooth and another type of communication module. The other case, same like that. We have one sensor. We connect to ESP, electronic development board, and from ESP they will transmit the data to cloud. We can choose one of the type of the cloud, like IoT, Arduino Iot Cloud. It is a cloud system, cloud server from Arduino. It is officially from Arduino, and it is a new technology. Some monitoring website, monitoring display for our IoT end device. It can be display the graph of the data that transmit by ESP or similar like that. This is also the another type of IoT platform. It is using ThinkSpeak or ThinkSport. So from the hardware, they connect to Wi-Fi and transmit data in the cloud server. There's also many types of our application. We have a DHT sensor for measuring temperature and humidity, and also there is an OLED display to display our value, humidity and temperature value to display directly here. And also this controller, this electronic development board, they will transmit to our server. This is an example of IoT platform to display our data from IoT device. ThinkSport. This board is very useful. It's very great for implementation of IoT application. There are many display, grab, and another widget that we can use free, and just drag and drop. We can make some applications like that. It's also. So it is a very important component in IoT development. So besides the sensors and actuator, for sensor we will learning about sensor in the next week with different lecture, different teacher. Miss Novi will talking about the sensor in the next week, in the Monday and Tuesday. So for today we will learning about controller the first, and then we can deeply to learning about sensor and control and actuator. Okay, how we can choose the electronic development board that suitable for our case? There are some point that we can, some specification that we can consider when we choose Arduino, or when we choose ESP, Raspberry Pi, Jetson Nano, and another. In electronic development board or in microcontroller, we know that some specification that make some different from one to another microcontroller. There is some specification like bits, like RAM, flash memory, GPIO, for power consumption in the and another. One of the important thing that we must make sure, we must ensure if we understand, because computer, they working based on bit or based on binary, right? You know, because computer is digital system, computer is digital device. It can work using concept, binary concept or digital concept. Binary is the representation of voltage. Yeah, 0 in binary, it means 0 volt, and 1 in binary, it means 5 volts. So it is the representation of electricity, electricity voltage, or electricity voltage or current. So it is the electricity, you know. 0 and 1 is the electricity signal. It has a definition. It's a representation of 0 voltage and 5 voltage, 5 volts. So everything that enter the computer, you need to convert to binary. You need to convert to 0 or 1. Everything. If you want to, if you writing in the keyboard, you know, you want to writing some message, some letter, I think, you need to, and using a keyboard, you put your computer, right? But you know that if you use the keyboard, you sending the binary code to computer, not alphabet word. In computer concept, we know that there is some concept of SESCII code, SC code, you know, SC code binary. You can see here. This table we will showing to us the character. If we want to writing some word like I am, for example, I am, we need 3 words: I, A, and M, right? And M. So the computer will, the transfer will convert the I alphabet to 0 1 1 1 0. So, and for A alphabet, it will convert to 0 1 0 0 0 0. And also for M word, it will convert to 0 1 0 0 1 1 0 1. It is the conversion from alphabet to binary system. So everything that we want to enter, we want to sending to our computer, and computer will be processed. They will process for binary code, for binary codes. Yeah. So there are some different between one type of electronic development board from one brand to another brand. One of the differences how many binary that they can to they can process. There is some microcontroller that they just can to process up to 8 bit, binary. And also there is another microcontroller that they can to process 16 bit or 32 bit. So it is depend on the specification of microcontroller. If we have many bit processing in microcontroller, so you will get the high processing device. So you can process to many operation. For example, if you have many sensors, more than 100, you need to using high bit microcontroller, maybe 16 bit or 32 bit microcontroller. And another specification that make a difference between microcontroller or between electronic development board is RAM. RAM means random access memory. It is the high-speed memory for temporary storing a data. Temporary because it has a character volatile character. Volatile means even there is no electricity, the data will be dropped and will be erased from the memory. So it depends on the electricity. It depends on the electricity. So that's why we call it temporary memory. For every electronic development board, every microcontroller, it has a different capacity for RAM. And the different specification is flash memory. Flash memory is like RAM, but it is a non-volatile. Non-volatile means it's still to save the data without power or without electricity. If the electricity is shut down, the data is still in the memory because it can to remember the data. So we use this flash memory for saving our program, our algorithm, our program to make some operation in microcontroller. So you need to choose the large flash memory for the case for the big case IoT solution. The another specification is GPIO. We call it general pin input output or GPIO. It is the pin that can be used as input and output on the microcontroller. As far as you know that if we want to interfacing, we want to connect many sensors. For example, we have 10 temperature sensor. So we need to connect every pin in sensor to microcontroller. So we can choose this pin, this pin. But that makes difference with another IC. The number of these pins is different between one electronic development board to another type of electronic development board. So we need to look how many sensor that we need to our system, how many actuator that we need to our system. So after we can the counting how many sensor, how many actuator, so we can to choose and we can to make decision to choose which one the best electronic development board that we can to make our solution. And the another things, the another topic that we need to consider why we choose the best, how we can choose the best electronic development board is connectivity, because there is some electronic development board that already include or already pull in communication. One, for example, is ESP32. It's already include in the hardware Wi-Fi and Bluetooth communication. So we do not we don't need to add many technology, like communication technology, because the ESP32 it's already have Bluetooth and Wi-Fi communication inside the board. How about Arduino? Arduino default for Arduino board, they don't have any communication module. So we need to buy our own. We need to assembling. We need to make to edit another module to Arduino. So we need to consider for this case. We have a many option to communicate, to make a communication in IoT, same like the low power radio technology. We have some option here, Bluetooth and Zigbee, NFC. And the best choice for rural area application, we can choose the LoRa, NB-IoT, and Sigfox. This is the LoRa technology. So we use a low power radio and long range area, wireless long range area. And another option that we can choose is cellular communication. We can choose for 5G, 4G, 3G, and 2G. 5G is the best for today operation, but it also has some weakness because it must be supplied by high energy. 5G it's very consume high energy, high consume energy, but it has a high bandwidth. So it is the benefit for us, but also it has a weakness, especially about the energy. It has a consume a big high energy. It is the power consumption for electronic development board. If we choose Arduino, if we buy the Arduino board in the marketplace, we will get this hardware and also the cable. This cable is connected to our laptop for communication. So we can to upload the program to our Arduino using this cable by using communication serial communication. Don't worry about the difficulty for implementation for this hardware, because many community and tools development that we can learn and we can join to learning about this electronic development board. You can finding this in the internet. There are some community, many forum in internet. You can join and you can learn about this hardware. Not only Arduino, but there are also many electronic development board like ESP or another type of board, electronic development board that you can learn. For Arduino, especially for Arduino is very famous because it makes it makes easy it makes easy for develop electronic system, especially for IoT. Because before Arduino come to our living, we need to make everything, before Arduino come, we need to make everything by our own. This make difficult, but because Arduino is come today, it make me easy. It make easy for beginner to start learning about electronic, especially for IoT. And do you know there are many type of Arduino board? You can choose Arduino Uno, Pro Mini, Mega, Nano, Pio, and another type, many type of the Arduino. It has a different for one type. For the another type is how many the number of pin. The number of pin is different between one type of this Arduino, and it also has different specification, different size of the memory, and different number of the pin. So it depend on our project. If we need many input output, if we need many input output for sensor, so we need to choose maybe Arduino Mega is the best choice for this case. This is the Arduino Uno. You can see here the input voltage is about 5 volt, so it can be run by using 5 volt DC and using 1 ampere electric current. So it is about 5 volt. It is very small energy, small energy, and it has a 14 pin for digital I/O and 6 pin analog I/O. It has a flash memory, SRAM, EEPROM. You can see here, kilobyte. So it's make a difference with another type of Arduino. For Arduino Mega, we can find, if we can look that Arduino Mega, it has a high number of digital I/O pin, analog pin, and it has also high specification, high memory for Arduino Mega. So it is depend of our case. If we need to choose many sensor or many I/O, so we need to consider for using another type of the Arduino. Arduino Mega is the best for the number of pin. And for Arduino Uno also, it's supplied by the 5 volt DC. And for analog pin, for Arduino, it has a 6 analog pin. So we can do interfacing or connecting 6 Okay, on the next, this Arduino is still Arduino Uno. We can also to connect more than one Arduino. If we want to make some this type of communication scheme, for example, we need to use 2 Arduino Uno. We can connect this by using communication serial. We can to connect to one of the pin in Arduino. So this Arduino the boot of Arduino, it can to communicate to each other. Okay, so if you it makes a solution if we have many sensors, and the first one, Arduino, it cannot to connect all sensor, so we can to expand the another sensor to the second Arduino. So we can we have many input output. We have many sensors that we can to process by using this scheme. This is serial communication. And another serial communication for Arduino, it has three type of serial communication. We call it SPI, serial peripheral interface, and also there is another type. It is E2C, integrated circuit, inter-integrated circuit, and the last is UART. We will talking in another topic, UART. And another type of the electronic development board is ESP8266. ESP8266 is system on chip Wi-Fi. So it's already built in. It's already include the Wi-Fi communication here. For Arduino before, it's not include the Wi-Fi. We need to buy in another marketplace and we put in Arduino. But for this electronic development board, we just to using this board to communicate with our server. So it's already it can be used for IoT application because it has a communication module in the board. So it is the best choice for IoT case. We can choose this board, or you can choose the another. This is the ESP32. ESP32 is the last version of from ESP8266. So it is the new module, the new product from ESP. ESP32, it has a Wi-Fi communication module, and also it has a Bluetooth, Bluetooth communication module. So if we use this ESP32, we already have Wi-Fi communication module and Bluetooth communication module. It is a very it is a benefit for if we choose this ESP32. And also ESP32, it has a high performance. It has increased performance or enhanced performance from the last from the version of before. I mean the ESP8266 is the version of before ESP32. So the best choice is you need to choose ESP32 because it's a new, it's the last version. It also has some specification like Arduino. It has voltage input. It's about 5 volts, and it has 18 analog input, and it has also 2 digital to analog converter input. So in the simple word, this ESP32 is it's sophisticated, because many facility, many feature that we cannot to finding in the version before. We cannot to find in the Arduino, and we cannot to find in the ESP8266. So I think this is the best choice for our case. ESP32 also it has many pin or many input output, analog output, analog input, and digital input and digital output. So we can practice for using this ESP. Maybe in the next week we will we will practice using a simulation how to connect sensor to this controller and how to connect to our platform, IoT cloud platform, to server. For ESP32 also, it has a same communication with Arduino. We can choose communication. ESP32 already built in the Bluetooth communication module and Wi-Fi communication module. So it's benefit for us it's benefit for us. We can make some IoT application. We can access the server by using Wi-Fi communication module, or we can to make some local controlling. Local controlling means maybe you want to make some control and monitor the sensor for from our smartphone. We can connect to Bluetooth communication with this device. So it is depend of our case. Okay, I think this is enough for material for today's. Maybe there is a question from you. Don't forget to fill in the form for attending list. Okay. Any question?
I think, sir, there's none question anymore.
Okay. 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 If there is no question, we can continue to the next day. We will talking deeply about maybe we can to see to practice. I think for the next day. Okay. Thank you for your
Yes, sir,
attention.
thank you so much.
The attention. Thank you. Good afternoon.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.